What's going on, guys? It's John here from Hot Take Hockey, back with another video. And today's video is going to be about Patrik Laine and 5 possible trades for him. And I know some people are already going to be like, what is this guy talking about? Patrik Laine being traded just doesn't make sense. I think there's been a lot of smoke. And sometimes we know when there's smoke, there is fire. I'm going to go through 5 trades here because I do believe there's a high possibility that Patrik Laine does get traded this offseason. He's going to be on his last year of the 2-year contract that he signed with the Jets. And I do think there's a lot of issues or a lot of question marks behind closed doors. It started with Patrik Laine complaining to the Jets about his playing time and to Paul Maurice, and they shut it down really quickly. But there was definitely a lot that happened behind closed doors there, that he just wasn't happy with his role, and he probably still isn't happy with his role. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's still guys ahead of him that are getting that opportunity. He's probably looking at a teammate like Kyle Connor and being like, yo, that could be me right now, putting up the numbers and putting up the goals. He hasn't worked. I mean, sometimes there's been occasions where he's worked with Wheeler and Scheifele, but a lot of the times it just hasn't worked. He's been called lazy. He's been called a slacker. He's been called a lot of those by, I would say mostly fans, but media has kind of trickled in on that as well. And again, you guys can blame Toronto media on this. I won't hold back. I won't say anything because I think it was not talked about enough when Patrik Laine signed his contract 2 weeks later than Mitch Marner. The whole conversation was about Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner was Paul Marner. Marner, disgrace. This guy's asking for so much money. Yeah, and you know what? He signed the long-term contract and it was a lot of money. But Laine, it wasn't talked about enough because why did he only sign 2 years? Yeah, everyone can say it was a bridge deal, but there's been a lot of issues and there's been question marks. And you know what? Patrik Laine could have just been like, let's sign a 2-year deal here and see. So it's a real question mark for me. I'm going to go over 5 trades. This was a little bit of a longer intro, but I wanted to lead it up and just say, I think there's something going to happen. I mean, there's something maybe brewing or there's conversations happening. I think there's something to this. And I think there's a possibility of him being traded. He's going to have that 1 year. He's going to be an RFA again. I think something might happen. So let's start with the Carolina Hurricanes. So Patrik Laine could be a Carolina Hurricane because I think, one, this would be a perfect opportunity for him to get that energy back, for him to get that excitement back into hockey. We've seen that kind of go a little bit away from Patrik Laine. And he would reunite with his World Junior teammate and line mate, Sebastian Aho. And this is kind of where I think it's a funny scenario where maybe the Carolina Hurricanes can go out and get Puljujarvi as well and reunite that line, that World Junior Championship team, and Aho, Laine, Puljujarvi, that was the top line. So Jets targets. I'm not going to do exact trades, actually. I'm just going to go targets. So these would be the guys that I would say the Jets would look at and be like, I want some of these guys in a trade. Marty Necas. I really think this guy could be going for a breakout year next year or soon. And he's only 2021. Man, this guy is ridiculous. So much speed, underrated shot, right shot centerman. He's got a lot of potential, and the Winnipeg Jets definitely still need guys up the middle. I think Necas could be a guy they target. Dougie Hamilton. It's an interesting one. There's always been stuff around Hamilton. I think people think that Hamilton has a home here in Carolina, but you know what? He started in Boston, got traded to Calgary to Carolina. There's been a couple trades with Hamilton. I think there's some stability question marks there, but I will say that I think Hamilton is a top 25, top 30 defenseman. He's up there in the league, and you know what? The Winnipeg Jets need defense. So you obviously have to give to get. If you're getting a goal scorer like Patrik Laine, 30, 35, 40 goals potentially for him going forward, you need to give up. And I mean, that would be Hamilton potentially. That would be Necas in that deal maybe. Another guy they could target would be Trocheck, who obviously just got traded from the Panthers to the Hurricanes. I just say that again for the fit in terms of a second line center for the Winnipeg Jets. So maybe he's in that bigger deal. And then Dominic Bach, again, if you're just looking at prospects, Bach's probably one of those guys up on that prospect list for the Carolina Hurricanes they acquired from the St. Louis Blues. If you could get a return of Necas and Hamilton plus, that would be huge. I don't know if you'd get that much, but I'm just saying in terms of targets, these are the guys the Winnipeg Jets would look at potentially. The Florida Panthers. So again, the Finland connection, Barkov, I really think, imagine a line of Barkov, Huberdeau, and Laine. If you're talking about Hoffman and Dadonov potentially moving on, there's a fit there. Who's going back? If you're looking at defense, Aaron Ekblad. Imagine a former first overall pick in exchange for a former second overall pick. Laine had all that hype. Ekblad had all that hype. Again, I'm not going to necessarily say that they haven't been great because Ekblad at times has been a really good defenseman and Laine at times has been a premier scorer and just unreal, but the inconsistencies for both players have been there, and they just both haven't been labeled as stars the way that they were supposed to be. So maybe switching spots. Again, I do think more would come from the Panthers on top of Ekblad, but Ekblad's a right shot defenseman. I still think he has potential to grow. So I'm putting it out there. Lucas Wallmark, Henrik Borgstrom, Owen Tippett, these are like additions to a blockbuster deal here. Wallmark, I would say right now, third line centerman. Henrik Borgstrom's got some potential to be a top 9 forward. Same thing with Owen Tippett. Owen Tippett brings more of that grit. So I'm just putting guys out there. Only one defenseman here I got on targets. But again, if you're looking at the Florida Panthers, they don't really have a lot of youth in their top 6 right now. And they have question marks there. But I do think the Panthers are a fit for Laine. The Buffalo Sabres. So you're seeing a trend here. I think if Laine was to be traded, it's most likely to the Eastern Conference. I really can't see it being to the Western Conference unless it's a non-rival out of the division. But still, I think it's most likely to the Eastern Conference. The Buffalo Sabres, I think Jason Botterill needs to make that move. Needs to make that move for that number 2 guy. I get Olsen's there, I get Reinhardt's there, but I just really don't think they're the number 2 guy that you can get on that forward group. You need secondary scoring. You need another scorer. That could be Laine. Ristolainen, maybe. Again, there's still, it's kind of similar to the Ekblad, but I think Ristolainen, he struggled defensively, very inconsistent. He had a better year this year. He could be part of the return and get a better scenario maybe with the Winnipeg Jets. Casey Middlestat could be an interesting one, more because he just hasn't worked out with the Buffalo Sabres. Even the AHL, he's struggled, and Rochester, I thought, give him more development time and he would improve. It just hasn't worked out. Sam Reinhart, he needs a new contract. If it doesn't work out, maybe it's a bigger trade where Reinhart goes to Winnipeg and the Jets lock him up and the Sabres get Laine, possibly. Brandon Montour's another guy. 1 year left. He would be an RFA. Maybe the Winnipeg Jets lock him up. Montour, Reinhart, maybe. I don't know. But I do think these would be the targets for the Winnipeg Jets in a possible trade for Patrik Laine to go to the Buffalo Sabres. The Montreal Canadiens. Okay, so we're getting into hot take territory. I do think the Montreal Canadiens could be a possibility here, more because I think Marc Bergevin is an aggressive GM and he wants to make those kind of moves. Max Domi or Philip Deneau. I want to say 99% if a trade like this was to go down, one of those two guys would be going the other way, I think, no doubt. Deneau, more of that two-way aspect. Domi, more the offensive guy. Max Domi, man, I just don't understand what happened to him. Such a great year and then such a bad year. The Montreal Canadiens, yeah, they struggled. They don't have a star. I do think they could use a Patrik Laine. Again, imagine Montreal Canadiens versus Toronto Maple Leafs, Laine versus Matthews. That would be crazy. And he'd be joining his fellow Finns in Lehkonen, Armia, and Kotkaniemi. It's a thought. I said a hot take as Tatar. Maybe Tatar, you sell high. Petrie, you sell high. Winnipeg Jets need a defenseman. Maybe Petrie's a fit. Tatar had a great year, so you'd be selling high on those guys potentially. Ryan Poehling, maybe one of those prospects that you trade. I just think if you're looking at the prospects, I think the Montreal Canadiens definitely want to keep Suzuki. If you're talking about Kotkaniemi, I think they still want to give him time. Poehling, out of those three, would maybe be the guy to go in a trade. We'll see. But I do think the Canadiens are an option. And number 5, another hot take, the New York Islanders. Lou Lamoriello, we know he makes aggressive moves sometimes. We know he makes some magic happen. This one's interesting. I know Islanders fans might freak out. Dobson, Wallstrom. You're talking about Patrik Laine. I mean, even Barzal, Islanders fans are probably freaking out. Okay, the Barzal one's a huge hot take. It just really comes down to his contract. He's an RFA at this season's end. And if they can't figure that out, maybe you go for a full-out swap, which would be so hot take-ish and so crazy that would shock the NHL world. That's why I have it as a hot take, so chill out in the comments. I know people are already going to freak out over that. But man, that would shock the hockey world. And again, if an Islanders Barzal contract negotiations doesn't work out and you bring in Laine, man, that would be insane. Again, the Islanders would have a huge hole up the middle. You'd have to make another move potentially. Wallstrom, Dobson, I think the Jets would definitely want one of them in a Laine trade, unless again you're getting a star back. Bavilla maybe's in there. Leddy. The only reason I'm saying Leddy is because I don't think they're giving up Pulock. If they consider giving up Pulock in a Laine trade, then that would be my target for the Jets 100%. But I think obviously they're more willing to give up on a guy like Leddy. That is my top 5. Let me know what you think. I think Laine could be traded. I think there's a very high potential that he does get traded. I know some people are still just, what is this guy talking about? No, I honestly think there's some real potential to this. I think again, where there's some smoke, there's potential fire. I really think this could happen. If you're looking at the Winnipeg Jets, you've got Connor and you've got Ehlers. you've got Scheifele, you've got Wheeler. Man, I just feel like Laine's not talked about enough. He's not the star that got drafted behind Matthews right now. He's putting up okay numbers. He actually had a better year this year. But when we're talking about Laine, coming out of his draft, we were talking about 35, 40 goals at least. At least. He's not producing at that rate. So, I will be surprised, and again, this may be hot take-ish, but I will be surprised if Patrik Laine is a Winnipeg Jet for his career. I will be very surprised. And I will be very surprised if, unless things change over the next year and a half, I will be surprised if he signs a long-term contract. Maybe this does carry on into the following offseason, so maybe nothing happens in this offseason. Maybe it carries on to the next offseason and he becomes an RFA again. But I should make it clear again. Everyone was talking about Mitch Marner. Everyone was having the discussions about Marner and the issues behind Marner. Laine signed a contract 2 weeks later. There was a 2-year deal. A 2-year deal for your second overall pick. There's something to this. We're going to have to wait and see. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe if you are new. Smash that like button. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope to see you on more videos and live streams. I really appreciate all the support in the community, and I do hope to see you more. All right. Have a good one. Peace out.